Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here. I'm back with another interview, another conversation with somebody doing big things. They're shaking, they're baking in our space, helping a lot of people. Um, Friend of the channel, been on a couple of times. Our very own Sandra Gephardt. Sandra, how are you today?
I'm doing great. In my nephew's bedroom, and I just saw this. It's a thing of frozen fly eggs. Wondering what he's up to.
So, I,
So that's
I,
me. That's where I'm at.
like finding frozen fly eggs in your nephew's bedroom, that's probably to me same level of scary as like finding like a skull or something like that, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. He's a science nerd, so I have a feeling he's going to be burning a lot of things down and releasing live flies into the house
Yeah,
at some point.
that'll happen. um, Guys, for anybody that doesn't know Sandra, I'll give a quick, like, you know, 10,000 foot view introduction. So Sandra is formerly an agent, right, on the PNC side. Sandra now has transitioned into working with agents. She's everywhere on the speaking circuit, right? She's at all kinds of events. She was at the Six Figure Medicare Agent Summit last year, brought the house down. She was awesome. She's speaking at tons of events this year, spoke at tons of events last year. So she'll be everywhere. She's a superstar, rock star. And her topic of expertise that she teaches agents on, helps them with, consults them with them on, is one of my favorite topics personally, because it's something that's helped grow my business probably 10x over the years. And that's organic social media. Um, Sandra is the queen of organic social media. She just knows little tiny details about things that just help a post perform better, help get somebody's attention better, help get great engagement on something. And so today we're going to be talking with Sandra about a program that she has out now, a new program, um, and just some tips that can help you better have more of an impact on your organic social media, your Facebook pages, your business pages, Facebook group if you have one, whole nine yards, right? Um, so, Sandra, this new program, if I understand it right, it's called DFY, right? Done for you. Talk a little bit about what this means and what this program entails.
So this program was built out of people begging me for the last couple of years. um, Everybody kept saying, I love what you coach on social media, but I struggle with doing it myself. And there's so many different reasons, right? One is time, which I can respect if that was sounded harsh, which I can believe, right? Maybe if you're a super, super busy agent, I don't believe that agents should try to be their own marketers at all times. So that's why my program on that I coach on is down to like the 20 minutes a day. You can kind of go through and do that. But people were like, please just do it for me. And no matter what you hear from anybody, I know you say this all the time, nobody is ever going to speak from your voice better than you.
Yeah.
Right. So people be like, oh, I'm just going to put my assistant in charge of my page or things like that. And you have to be the person to do that. Now, I studied, I researched, I'm a student of digital marketing. I did digital marketing when I had my agency. When my husband got his brain tumor, we sold the agency. I went into full time digital marketing. And what we know is that it's a fluid tool. While it's a free tool and it's there to make money, there's a lot of different changes. And towards the right before about a month and a half before AEP, I really saw, and I had been, like I said, studying it, the pages, your Facebook business page starting to get more and more reach. So I watched it and I watched it and I watched it. And then I said, okay, fine. I give up. I'll do it for you guys. So that's how this program was kind of born, was uh, giving a tool to the people that wanted to see what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's super important and super valuable because even though maybe somebody's going to be able to speak from their voice, right, better than anybody else can for themselves, there's so many agents that aren't marketers. I'd say a huge majority of agents are not marketers. They just don't They don't have a lot of knowledge or skill or maybe even time to learn what it takes to
Mhm.
know even probably 50% about what you know about marketing, right? Um, so it's such a valuable thing to when they can have an expert like you in the space. And that's your focus, that, you know, you're learning about it all the time. You're always learning about changes going on. Sometimes people will watch a YouTube video from 5 years ago, you know, that's incredibly outdated information, and they run with that, and they're just building their marketing attack on outdated premises. You know, like if you watched a YouTube video from 4 or 5 years ago that talked about Facebook business pages, they'd probably say they're dead. You know, they're
Oh yeah,
dead.
if you watched one of my trainings from a year ago, it's going to say you need to have a Facebook page, you need to post on it randomly,
Yeah.
but Facebook wasn't showing it the love that they are now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It
so,
just changes in an instant,
and
this
and
stuff.
and that's very difficult, I think, for the average agent to be able to keep up with, like Sandra can, right? And so
Mhm.
um to be able to just, you know, know what's going on, know what's working versus what's not working, being able to pivot on a dime like that is so valuable. And I think that's just a really, really cool service. um, there's a lot of great marketing programs out there, but a lot of them are teaching the agent how to, you know, maybe step by step set something up themselves, but they have to spend 30 hours on it, you know. And so the agent might buy into it and they're like, okay, I'll spend 2 hours a week on it for 10 weeks and then I'll be able to be going. They just never get there, you know. So like they just don't have the time between their family life, their business, everything else they do on a regular basis to implement what they're learning. So I think having something to where you can have Sandra plug in for you and help is going to be incredibly valuable. um,
Well, a lot of times we're chasing that dopamine, right? Like, have you ever
yeah
bought a new day planner? Like, you feel unorganized and you buy a new day planner and you're like, all right, I'm organized now, right?
yeah
Or for us on the digital marketing side, you know, oh, I'm going to buy this program, or even an agent, I'm going to buy a $10,000 program, or I'm going to join a $10,000 mastermind. And then you get that dopamine hit and you're like, perfect, my marketing's fixed, right? But then you don't realize that you have to do all the other steps that go with it. So
yeah
it's that immediate dopamine hit, and that's one of the things that I'm always telling people. There is nothing sexy about my programs. You don't start working with me and get flooded with dopamine right out of the gate, because it's a consistent brand building thing. It's the same way, you know, the guys that came before us 30 years ago, when they walked into a room and they're like, you know, your dad, right? Everybody knew them, you know, because they had gone to every networking event. They were omnipresent in
yeah
real life, IRL. And we have to build that omnipresence online. Now, what's so cool about it is once you start building that omnipresence, you can do whatever you want with it. So I had been pretty much solely in the PNC space for years, doing digital marketing, doing running my agency, all of that kind of stuff. When I started meeting you guys, especially you, were one of the first people I met in Medicare. My audience kind of came with me,
yeah
right? So I was able to come into a new audience and do it in a very strategic way, to where I had credibility coming in with the audience that I had built the omnipresence with. My entire business is built off of organic social media marketing. You guys think about that. I run a six-figure marketing agency from Roundup, Montana. I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom, and I've done it all with Facebook. So yeah, TikTok's sexy, Facebook or YouTube Shorts are sexy. All of that stuff has got a real, you know, sexiness to it. Twitter's kind of sexy again. We're all watching to see what the train wreck's going to happen, you know, if it will. But Facebook is tried and true. It's the boy in high school that got good grades, that was really a nice guy that you should have dated. That's who Facebook is.
Facebook isn't the bad boy on the motorcycle, right? With
No.
like the leather jacket without sleeves and the tattoos on the arms, you know, and you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, give me
Yeah.
some of
That
that.
might
But
call you on Saturday.
yeah, but Facebook is the safe choice, right? It's just like
Yeah.
um that's a great analogy. So I would say, so answer this question for me, because I am such a huge believer in Facebook, right? I mean, Facebook is, if I people always ask me like what platform has done the most for me. I think for me personally, it's clearly and not even close narrowed down to at least two platforms. You know, like we do some stuff on TikTok, we do some stuff on Instagram, but it's Facebook and YouTube, and everything else is like way behind.
Mm-hmm.
But between the two, Facebook has probably done more for Christian Brindle's business than any other platform, including YouTube. So what is it about Facebook that makes it so old reliable?
I think that when it comes to Facebook, it doesn't make big changes, and Facebook's never put all its eggs in one basket, right? It'll buy
Yeah.
other smaller companies like an Instagram or some of the other acquisitions they've had, and you can see them kind of test around with Instagram, right? Like when it
Yeah.
first came out, we're like, oh, we have to take a picture of ourselves every time we want to post, right? And then people started, getting more comfortable being in front of cameras and stuff. And that, side note, like I like to do, you guys have to get comfortable taking your own picture and being on Facebook. So what's happening right now, and it's a mindset. It's like working out at the gym. You have to remind yourself that you look like you look, and that's just it. I don't have any makeup on except for my red lipstick. My husband took the pickup and he's ice fishing, and of course my makeup was in the pickup. Why wouldn't it be? And we came and visited my mom because Darren's ice fishing. And I was like, oh no, I should call and cancel with Christian because I don't have mascara on. Now, I watched Christian's face when we first turned on the videos, and he wasn't like, oh you're gonna you're doing a review looking like that, right? It's not a big deal,
No.
y'all. We do it in our heads. So that's a tip. Just find your thing. Typically, if I don't have makeup on and I want to shoot a video, I'll put a pair of sunglasses on and I'll go outside and I'll take a picture. Or so think about, obviously, talking to the ladies, the majority. I don't know how your makeup routine, Christian, but um, even with guys,
It's extensive. It's extensive, by
yeah,
the way.
it's finding your thing. Just do it. Don't give yourself an excuse. It's the same as not going to the gym or not going to the office that day. You can get yourself out there. And that's one thing that I do. Oh, okay, so we were talking about why Facebook. I got sidetracked into Instagram. Stay with me, y'all. We're not
No,
going
no,
anywhere yet.
it's great. It's great.
That Facebook really has been like that guy or girl in high school that was old reliable, right? That you put in the friend zone. They don't make any big massive changes. Now they do make a lot of different changes to the platform, right? A lot of them. I always think back to when poor Mark Zuckerberg had to go speak at Congress, and they're like, "How do you make money?" And he's like, "By running ads, Senator." And they're like, "I don't understand what you're saying, right?" And that was probably the biggest change we've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
They're like, but my farm bill keeps dying. And he's like, no, but we don't do that anymore. Um, so that was the biggest change, right? Like back in those days, we could run an ad right directly to your credit score in your neighborhood. And that was the glory days you hear us all talk about. Of course, they had to do some restrictions with data. It's probably the right thing to do, although we still miss it. But that's the only real big, massive change that we've had, the great shutdowns of 2016 and 17 and a little bit of 18. There's some of us that still don't have accounts. But it's always been true. It's always been steady. If you interact with Facebook is one of the true social platforms. If you interact with other people, if you put up consistent content, if you treat your personal profile and your business page like a television program where people can rely on coming to it and getting content, the more you do that, the more the algorithm or the program itself is going to reward you. That's why you're always going to see Christian's content all the time. And you're like, how do I shake this dude? We have to stop commenting on his stuff. But he's so entertaining. I want to comment on his stuff. Well, you're stuck. That's how it works. So
Yeah.
it's been a free resource for us to be able to do these amazing things and build these huge brands all without having to spend tons and tons of money. And it's their steadiness. They don't go through and say, you can buy check marks, or, they'll make little changes, right? Like right now we're promoting pictures. Right now we're promoting video. And now we know that video is dead essentially on Facebook, right? You're not going to get the
Mhm.
same engagement that you would have a couple of years ago, but we can watch the trends. And I think that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. And I think the other thing about Facebook too is like I would say the only one that comes close is YouTube. Like YouTube's a great platform,
Mhm.
but with what I'm about to say, I think Facebook is the one platform to where you're going to have a majority of any demographic on it. You know,
Yes.
like the user base is just so crazy. Like if you're a Medicare agent and you're trying to market to seniors, seniors are there. If you are an ACA agent and you're trying to market to younger people, they're of course there. You know, I think YouTube has a lot of that as well, but I think there's probably more of a wider range of demographics on Facebook than anything else, you know. And and it's an amazing platform, you know, and their level of
Mhm.
stability has been crazy, you know, for the past 15 years or whatever it is. Um,
The
I oh, go ahead.
Okay. The biggest difference between those two platforms is one, on Facebook, you don't need to be a content creator. Okay. We're
Yeah,
not making thumbnails, we're not doing descriptions, we're not doing the extra piece of marketing that makes a YouTube channel work, or even an Instagram profile or a TikTok profile. That's content creation.
right,
Okay, so when you're seeing people like an Olivia Appleberry, who's an agent that does incredible on TikTok, well, she's essentially a full-time content creator.
right.
So she is getting leads in, but she has a system to where she's actually offloading the leads to her team, and she's a content creator. So when it comes to, I hear agents all the time, well, I want to have a profile, I want to have a YouTube profile like Christian. That's awesome. You need to be a content creator. You need to always be curating content. You need to always be putting it out. You need to know the trends with the thumbnails. So when you're getting to that point, then you need a content team. You need
Yep.
somebody on your team that can help you do all of that, especially if you're the main writing agent for your agency.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's such a not talked about enough point. You know, like with us, for example, people always ask us about YouTube and they ask me about YouTube. What people don't realize is behind the scenes, I have someone on my team that edits the videos, creates the thumbnails, schedules our videos, takes clips, posts them as shorts and reels and all these different things. So it's like a production almost, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple people that do this. You know, we have a couple people on our team now that do these things. So like if I was writing full time and I was trying to make the content and I was trying to do all those things because I maybe not wouldn't have a team, right? If I'm maybe a newer agent, it's very challenging to be able to do all that. You know, like you're working 100 hours a week, um, maybe more. And I think on Facebook, I think that's a great point. You know, you don't necessarily have to be a content creator. You don't have to figure out how to make a thumbnail, figure out how to, you know, get your positioning right in a video or stare at the camera or stop doing this with your face, you know. Um, and so I think that's such a great point, you know, because YouTube is a more difficult game, right? I think
Yeah.
it's definitely a higher barrier to entry, if you will, than
Mhm.
maybe something like Facebook would be.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between content creation and social media marketing. Those are two
Yeah,
totally different things. I myself don't have a YouTube channel. Now, let's tell them a secret. Can tell them a
let's go.
secret.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in.
I've not told anybody else this. I even had to take my hoodie off, but so I had a podcast called Binding Authority that was ranked on uh, Apple. Yeah, that's the podcast platform that was ranked. We actually hit number 15 on the business charts at one point on that. It's got,
Wow.
15 or 20 episodes in it, and I sunsetted that. Well, I'm relaunching another podcast here the end of next week that's going to be called A Bit Too Much, and the YouTube channel alongside it. So it has taken me, what, 6 or 7 years to get to the point to where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to branch out, right? Because I don't have a team, nor do I want a team until Gage goes to kindergarten, which will
Right.
be another year. So everything I'm doing has been very strategic. But I can tell you, when we're talking, when you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, but YouTube's sexier and these other ones are sexier, right?
Yeah.
I still have not worn out my audience. I still have the ability to earn income off of the people that are just on my Facebook profile and following my page. So, and I don't have 20,000 followers. That's the other thing. People are like, oh, I want you to run my social media for you, but I only have 112 followers. I can tell you that I have one client, very specifically one client that has exactly 112 followers, and she's consistently writing business out of her profile now. You do not need thousands and thousands of followers. You just need a small audience that knows, likes, and trusts you, and you can build off of that for years to come.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's powerful because I think people think unless they can get to a huge follower count, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 50,000 followers, that's not going to work for them, but that's definitely not the case. Sandra, I wanted to ask you, I want to be respectful of your time, but I had one last question for you that I think is going to be super helpful for the audience. So what you teach, I think a great example of it for anybody that's wanting to know would be two things to me. One would be you use it yourself to build your business, right? Like you practice what you preach. Like the reason why Sandra is everywhere online and at conferences and on stages is because she's using her playbook, if you will, to build her own business. So she's basically walking, her own walking testimonial for one. But number two, there's a lot of agents you've worked with that have helped in the space. Can you share one or two things that you've either done in your own business, or maybe you've helped through consulting another agent that's been really successful, that maybe could be like an expectation from your program? Like somebody could be like, okay, that's maybe what I'm looking for right now.
Yes. So I will tell you guys, talking about even my following, because I get that question a lot. They'll be like, well, you don't have 50,000 followers. How do you do this? Well, just with my following, I have been featured in 2 documentaries. I've done a TEDx presentation. I've started a speaking career, speaking on some of the biggest insurance stages that are out there, including yours, which amazing conference. You need to be there. Um, I have built a 6-figure business. I have made some actual true friends that I never would have met in Roundup, Montana, right? If we come to Salt Lake City, I'm hitting you up. I'm flying into Baltimore in 2 weeks. And here's Gage. Um, uh, Flying into Baltimore in 2 weeks. And I mean, Steve Moskowitz there, right? So I have friends across the country. I have people that know, like, and trust me, that are buying business from me. Gage threw me off there. And the omnipresence that I've created is very specific, and it's starting to even branch out. I'm speaking at some conferences that this year that aren't even insurance conferences, but people have recommended I speak at a conference that they attend as an insurance agent. So this isn't a minor league thing. This is the big league. This is, you can become an influencer in your space, in your areas, or whatever areas you want to be, right? If I kept my business only to Montana, I don't even have an active client in Montana right now. Like, if you think about that, that's nuts, right? Oh no, I do.
Yeah.
Katie's son. But on the other side, I'm going to do so one extreme and then one that seems like it's going to be a failure, right? I've got one client that I took on. She's just now hitting her 90 days with the program. We do 3 months at a time. Um, and I was looking at her engagement and I was like, oh, this isn't really where I want it to be, right? I called her and I was like, hey, I haven't seen you really interacting with other people. What's going on? And we're looking at her profile and she said, I can't give you all the details, but I got a call from somebody that I've been working with. And long story short, this person saw me consistently posting on her page. She saw the content going out over and over and over again. I post in a variety of different ways: engagement posts, educational posts. I know how to make Facebook work. This is completely different than the pictures that go out through a third party platform that are 2 white people on a golf course, like, Medicare saved our life. We have no worries, right? Like, it's not that boring stuff. I'm asking who has the best chicken wings in town, right? People are interacting with these posts and building the know, like, and trust. And she is going to be working with a professional sporting organization that has a big game this weekend. And she's going to be their life and retirement person now. She has an in to she's going to be going to these different events, combines, things like that. If now I want to say on her page she might have 400 followers.
Wow.
But if you could go work at the NBA combine, whatever they call theirs, do you think you could sell some life insurance there and get people some financial accounts set up? So you don't know what's going to happen. What you do know is if you have consistent content going out, people are going to build that know, like, and trust with you. And you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest thing that holds people back is the haters, right? Well, I don't want people to think I'm too salesy. I don't want people to talk bad about me. I had a guy in a group say that I dress like a 12-year-old boy. I was like, okay, fair enough. Right. Like, you're not wrong. But those kinds of comments, while we're all human and we hear them, I've had people say that I talk too much. I've had people say I'm a bit too much. You know what I did with it? I made it a TEDx talk and now a podcast, right? So you don't worry about that. Worry about the guy that's going to be the one person that sets you up to write tons of insurance as a referral partner. So we go in and we be brave about it. But that client, I was even doing it, right? Because again, we have to check ourselves. And I was like, man, she's not getting the results I'm looking for. And then she's like, oh no, that's because I was doing this and I've been working on this. I'm like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah. I think that's such a great point, because I mean, it's a very, very famous quote. Everybody probably knows it, but um, some famous important person once said, I can't remember who says it, and the only way to avoid being criticized is to say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing, right? Everybody knows the quote, and it reigns so true, because I think anytime you put yourself out there in any capacity, it's gonna happen and it's inevitable. Like Grant Cardone says, if you're not having haters, it means there's not enough people hearing you or seeing you. That's the only thing that means. If you're getting nothing but positive feedback and positive comments, it just means you're not reaching enough people. And it's inevitable. It just comes with the territory. But most of the time, if you get haters, and this is what I would tell anybody, right, from myself, because when I first started putting myself out there, it used to really get to me at the beginning. I would get lured into like online fights with people. Not that I never do that now, but I'm better than I was years ago. But almost always it's people that you would never trade places with.
Mm-hmm.
It's never anybody that's doing better than you. It's always somebody that like I would never want to trade places with that person, and it's like, but but real recognize real, so like
Yeah.
anybody that puts themselves out there and goes through everything that comes with, other people that do it or bigger people in the space are going to have respect for you because everybody knows that's not easy, and it will build your buzz, it will build your brand, and it will build your credibility in your space. And all of those are going to be immensely helpful.
Yep. I think the first quote was by Michael Scott.
Michael Scott
from The Office.
Oh, of course.
You missed 100% of the shots you take.
Yeah.
Don't take. That was another Michael Scott quote. But when it comes to social media, I hear a lot of things with agents, right? Not wanting to put themselves out there, and I liken that to, okay, well, I'm making calls today, and somebody told me they didn't want me to be their agent, so I'm just going to pack it up and go home for the day, right? You still put yourself out there on the phone. You still put yourself out there at events. You hold a seminar and you sell 10% of it, and you're like, that seminar went great, right? What about the 90% of people that didn't buy from you? So we just have to get into that mindset of social media is here to make money, and it's the same as hosting a seminar or something along those lines. And I'll hear people say, well, we're getting ready to make social media part of our office plan. No, today's the day that you make social media part of your office plan, especially if you're hiring me to do it for you. All you have to do is fill out a survey every once in a while, and then I go to work. So if you're not using it to some sort of capacity, especially Facebook right now, you're just leaving money on the table.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Guys, if you're interested in getting into Sandra's program, her DFY program, I'm going to throw a link to it in the description of this video. I highly recommend it. We don't talk about anything on this channel that I don't believe in, that I don't think would be a good thing for you guys. And of course, I've gotten to know Sandra over the course of several years now. Sandra is a wealth of knowledge. She's the real deal. She knows her stuff. And I think that you guys would be very, very happy with the results you'll get from her program. So check it out. Go check out that link. And if you need help with your social media, this could be an opportunity for you to get that help and be able to not be that person that says we're working on getting social media started. You can get it started right away.
So I'm gonna, me, I always like to just throw something in.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do for anybody that buys off of your video, I'm gonna give them free access into the Kicks and Red Lips social media coaching program. So they'll have free access to that for life as well. So then they can work on building their own personal profile while I'm building the page profile for them.
That's huge. That's huge. I appreciate that. Guys, check it out. Take advantage of the offer. Take advantage of the opportunity. And yeah, you guys won't be sorry. Sandra, where can people find you on what's the best place to connect with Sandra Gebhardt?
You can go to my website, sandragebhardt.com. It'll take you over to my Facebook. And I'm sure I have the other profiles on there as well. But that's the best place to get everything, what's going on and where I'll be at and all that stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to spend with us and with me and kind of share some of your insight and your knowledge. It's always great. We always walk away with some great information on the video. So thank you for that. And of course, we'll be doing it again soon.
Thanks for having me. And I'll let you guys know what happens with these.
Yeah, keep me posted. I'm going to watch for a post. I'm going to be watching your feed very closely for that update.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, guys. If you enjoyed this video with Sandra, like the video, comment your thoughts down below, subscribe, weekly videos. You guys know the drill. We'll see you next time. Later, guys.